Argentina's poverty rate drops to lowest level since 2018, according to Torquato di Tella University. Buenos Aires, Argentina *. A recent report from Universidad Torquato di Tella, UTDT, has revealed a significant decline in Argentina's poverty rate, reaching 31.6% in the first half of 2025, marking the lowest level since 2018. The study, conducted by economist Martin González Rosada, also highlights a notable decrease in indigence, dropping to 7.4% from 18.2% year-on-year, offering a glimmer of hope in a nation that has long grappled with economic challenges. The report, based on a poverty nowcast using projected microdata from the Permanent Household Survey, EPH, and estimates of the total basic basket, CBT, for Greater Buenos Aires, indicates that the projected incidence of poverty can be broken down into a weighted average of 32.1% for the first quarter of 2025 and 31.2% for the second quarter of 2025. This represents a remarkable improvement from the 52.9% poverty rate recorded in the first half of 2024, before President Javier Milei took office in December 2023. The sharp decline of over 20 percentage points in poverty within a year is attributed to a combination of slowing inflation, economic recovery, and targeted policy measures. When Milei assumed the presidency, Argentina faced a dire economic situation, with poverty levels soaring to 52.9% and indigence at 18.2%, largely due to the economic fallout from the previous administration's policies and a severe currency devaluation. The country was teetering on the edge of hyperinflation, with annual inflation rates exceeding 200% at the end of 2023. Since then, Milei's administration has implemented sweeping reforms, including fiscal austerity, deregulation, and efforts to stabilize the economy. These measures have contributed to a significant reduction in inflation, which fell from 276.2% in 2023 to 66.9% by early 2025, according to INDEC, Argentina's National Institute of Statistics and Census. The report underscores that the improvement in poverty and indigence rates is driven by a favorable dynamic between rising household incomes and stabilizing prices, allowing more families to afford basic goods and services. President Milei celebrated the findings, stating on social media, "Poverty continues to fall," and emphasizing that the decline reflects the effectiveness of his economic policies. The improvement of the vulnerable is not achieved with cheap words, but with concrete policies resulting from understanding how the economy works, he added. However, critics argue that while the numbers are encouraging, structural challenges remain, and many Argentinians still face difficulties accessing essential services and coping with the rising costs of private health care, education, and rent in a deregulated market. The UTDT report also aligns with other estimates, such as those from INDEC, which reported a poverty rate of 38.1% for the second half of 2024, down from 52.9% in the first half. The consistent downward trend suggests that Argentina is making strides in reversing one of the worst social crises in its recent history. However, experts caution that sustaining this progress will require addressing structural poverty, estimated to have a floor of around 25%, and ensuring that economic growth translates into broader social benefits. Despite the positive data, the reality on the ground remains complex. While millions have been lifted out of poverty, approximately 11 million according to some projections, reports indicate that food insecurity and informal employment persist for many households. The journey to economic stability is far from over, but the latest figures from UTDT offer a promising sign that Argentina is moving in the right direction. As Argentina approaches midterm elections, these improvements could bolster Milei's position, though public sentiment remains divided. For now, the nation celebrates a hard-won victory in the fight against poverty, with hopes that continued reforms will pave the way for a more prosperous future. Argentina's poverty rate drops to lowest level since 2018, according to Torquato di Tella University.